Hello joyful tribe and welcome back. I have compiled these 12 Nigerian soup recipes for you and your family. Don't forget to subscribe, share and click the like button. Enjoy! This Ugu and Uziza soup is my favorite soup at the moment. Made with simple ingredients but bursting with flavors. Keep watching, let me show you how easy this is to make. For the list of ingredients, I have the Uziza vegetable already washed and cut. This is the Ugu, also known as pumpkin leaf, washed and cut as well. I have here some finely minced onion, some pepper. This soup was spicy, I loved it. I have periwinkle, very optional but I loved it. Some seasoning, crayfish, Ogiri Okpei. This is Panla fish already washed, goat's meat, momo and snail. I also have some palm oil, good quality palm oil. To begin, I'm going to cook the meat. Use any protein of your choice. I'm using goat's meat, momo and snail. You can use beef or just stockfish. Very delicious actually. Next, going with some pepper. Please add the pepper to your taste. I wanted the soup to be very spicy and that was what I got. Next, add some onions, some seasoning and salt if necessary. I'm using just seasoning, so I'll not add salt. Stir this well to combine and then cover for it to steam for 10 to 15 minutes so it can sweat out its own moisture. This was 15 minutes later. I'm going to give this a good mix. At this time, you're sure that most of that seasoning have penetrated into the meat. Next, I'll go in with some water and then continue to cook just until the snail is almost done. Ten more minutes later, I'm going to remove the snail. It is almost done, so I'll take it out now and continue to cook the rest of the protein until it is soft. Meanwhile, I'm going to now go prep the vegetables. I have the Uziza leaf here. You want to pick to remove anyone that is not so fresh and then wash it. Do the same with the Ugu as well. I like to pluck them like this to remove the stalk and then wash properly. How do you prep your vegetables? Do you have them sliced in the market for you, then you come home and wash? Or you prefer to come home, pick them like this and then wash by yourself? Tell me, which WhatsApp group do you belong? I am team pick my vegetables myself, wash it myself before cooking. Truth is, I've tried that thing once and when I was rinsing the vegetables, I felt like all the nutrients went to the water. But I can understand sometimes when you want to cook for a very large number of people, coming home to do all of that yourself can be stressful. But small ones like this for your own consumption, no. Alright, so now everything is nice and clean. I'm going to slice the vegetable thinly and set them aside. Today's special hug is for Hafsat watching from the United Kingdom. I am glad you love the recipes. Please let me know where you're watching from. Also, if this is your first time here, I want to specially thank you for clicking to watch. Please don't forget to click the like button, subscribe before you go, hit the bell notification as well, so you'll be among the first to know anytime I upload a new video, and it is free of charge. Thank you. Back to the meat, we're going to check on it. It is about 90% cooked now. So I'm going to separate the meat from the stock and set them aside. We will need them later. To that same pot, I'll go in with some palm oil. You don't want to bleach this or anything, just let it heat up. Once it is nice and hot, go in with some seasoning or salt to flavor the oil. Then I'm going to add the fish. I'm using a jakeka fish, that is smoked Panla fish. I have a video on how you can make that if you live abroad where you cannot find this readily. I'll link it in the description box. So once I add the fish, I'm going to let it release all of those beautiful flavors into the oil before I proceed. At this time, I'll go in with a bit more onions, some more Scotch bonnet pepper. Use as much as you can tolerate. The fragrance of this pepper was just so nice and it was very spicy. I loved it. So now stir very well to combine. Cover and let that simmer in for another 2 minutes. 2 minutes later, oh my god, the aroma here was nose blinding. Now I'm going to add some crayfish. Remember the crayfish and Okpei. Add the crayfish and Okpei now and stir well to combine. I'm going to cover this again to allow it simmer for another 2 minutes. I should have added it when I added the pepper and onions, but it's fine. Cover now. After 2 minutes, you're going to now come back and then add your protein. I'm going to reintroduce the snail, the cow skin, and the goat meat that I cooked earlier, and add some of that meat stock as well to loosen this up. You can see we've not added any water to the soup. See, there are several ways to make this soup. This is one method. Let me know in the comments if you want to see the second method that I used to make this soup. Then you choose the one that you like the most, okay? With the meat stock, you want to add it gently, add first, stir it in. If you think you need more, then you can add more. So I added all the stock, cover and let it simmer. After 5 minutes, I'm going to add the Uziza leaf. If you cannot find fresh Uziza leaf where you stay, I'm sure you can get the seed from the nearest African store. You can blend up the seed and use it for the soup together with your ugu. So I added some periwinkle, a bit more crayfish. I'm going to stir and let this Uziza leaf cook down for about 5 to 7 minutes. Still watching? Then this is a good time to please click the like button. Thank you. So once I stirred this in, I discovered I needed a bit more liquid, so I went in with some water. You see the amount I added, very small. Stir that in and cover. If you have any concerns with the fish breaking up, then you can add it a bit later, but this soup was everything. I would not change anything for nothing. Trust me. So 5 minutes later, I'm going to come back. Look at our soup. It is just doing putu putu. The aroma here was nose blinding. Next, going with the ugu. That's your fresh pumpkin leaf already chopped. Add it and cover for it to wilt for about 2 minutes before you stir. The ratio of ugu and uziza I used was 2 to 2. I mean, if you use 2 packs of ugu, use 2 packs of uziza. Yeah. So 2 minutes later, you're going to stir this well to combine, and soup is almost ready. Oh, stir everything well, and then you can top up with a bit more crayfish. Adjust with seasoning if you have to. Also, on the other hand, you should be making your eba, fufu, or pounded yam to go down with this. It was so good. I had this with eba, soft, supple eba, very yummy. So once I added the ugu, stirred it in well, gave it a few minutes, soup was ready. Serve and enjoy. I hope you enjoy this when you try it. Send me your pictures on Instagram at joyfulcook_ when you do. Thank you so much for watching. See you in my next video. Don't go, eat with me. Let's eat. Oh yeah, dig in. Yummy. If you watch to this point, this first swallow is for you. If you watched up until this point, this first swallow is for you. Take it. Enjoy. Bye. Hello Joyful Tribe, and welcome back to the channel. I hope everyone is doing well. In today's video, I share how to cook egusi soup like a pro. Yes, if you're looking to get a fail-proof recipe, then you should watch till the end. You're going to start by seasoning your meat. I'm using goat meat. Use any meat of your choice. I've gone in with some seasoning, salt, some cayenne pepper for a bit of heat, and some blended onion. I'm going to stir this around, cover and let it steam for about 15 minutes before I add water. "15 minutes later, I'll check on the meat, and as you can see, it has released some of its natural juice. You can let this go some more so the juice dries back into the meat if you have the time. Alright, so next I'm going to go in with some washed stockfish and some cow tribe already cleaned as well. So I'm going to add a bit of water, cover and continue cooking. Today's hug is for Winnie watching from Kenya and Lee Jackson watching from Texas. Thank you for taking the time to leave me a comment. I appreciate it. Please let me know where you're watching from so I can send you a hug. Alright, so next I have egusi already blended. I have some pepper mix. This is red bell pepper, shombo, onion, and Scotch bonnet pepper. I also have 1 tomato in there. I have some crayfish and Ogiri, very important. Next I have Uziza leaf. I love Uziza in egusi soup. Some palm oil. I have some dried catfish, which I'll clean, debone, and use for the soup as well. And a few more ingredients like our seasoning and salt. Alright, while the meat is cooking, I'll use that time to prep all the ingredients so that once the meat is done, all we have to do is just put everything together. So first, blend or pound the crayfish and Ogiri and then set it aside. Blend the pepper mix with a bit of water and set aside as well. Now you can add the crayfish and Ogiri here and blend, but you'll see the reason why I didn't blend it together as you watch the video. Next, I'll add some blended onion to the already grounded egusi and then mix very well to combine. Now, the reason why I add onion to egusi is so the onion can help the egusi curdle, especially if you want your egusi to be lumpy. The onion helps with that, okay? So once you get into this nice thick paste, you're going to set it aside. So the final prep left to do is to clean the catfish. I've soaked it in this hot water for a few minutes to soften it up. Then I'll go in, debone it, and set it aside. If you're still watching, please don't forget to click the like button and subscribe if you haven't. Thank you. So 35 to 40 minutes later, I check on the meat, and as you can see, it is already getting really soft. So I'm going to scoop it out of the stock now and save the stock because we'll need it later. If this is your first time here, I want to specially thank you for clicking to watch today's video. Please don't forget to subscribe, turn your bell notification on so you'll be among the first to know anytime I upload a new video, and it is free of charge. To my returning subscribers, I love you. Thank you for always coming back to watch. So let's make this soup proper now. In a pot, you're going to add some palm oil and then let it heat up. You're not trying to bleach it or anything. Once it is hot, you're going to now go in with the egusi. Just like this, make it into lumps like this and drop in the oil. Now the trick is I didn't let the oil to be too hot so it's not bleaching by the time the egusi is fried. What I'm trying to do is fry the egusi first before I fry the pepper mix. That way the egusi actually fries. This method gives my egusi a really nice delicious taste that I think anybody should try. Also, if you like lumpy egusi soup, this method will allow the lump to stay intact and not break apart for a longer time. Alright, so continue to do this on medium low heat so it doesn't burn until it becomes crumbly just like this. The only downside to this was because I was using a stainless steel pot, some of them stuck to the bottom of the pot. So using a non-stick pot will help solve that. But it didn't matter, after all we're making egusi soup. So once it is well fried just like this, I'll scoop it out and set it aside. Now in that same pot, I'll go in with a little bit more oil and then add our pepper mix. That's our blended red bell pepper, onion, Scotch bonnet, and just 1 tomato. I didn't use a lot of tomatoes. Now remember that crayfish and Ogiri we blended. Add half of it at this point. Go in with some seasoning. I used crayfish seasoning and our washed catfish. Stir, cover halfway through and allow to start frying. Please keep an eye on this, stir often so it doesn't burn until oil floats to the top. After about 15 minutes, I check on this again and you can see oil already floating to the top, which indicates that the pepper mix is well fried. and you can see the pot wasn't burning because I was stirring quite often. At this time, I'll go in with our meat stock that we saved. Add the meat stock, taste and adjust with seasoning if necessary. And then go in with the fried egusi. That's egusi we already fried. Now, once you add the egusi, you can now determine if you need more water or not. Remember, egusi can drink up water. So yeah, once you add the egusi, you can now decide if you're going to add a little bit more water. At this time, I'll go in with our already cooked meat and stockfish and the vegetable as well. I'm adding the vegetable now because Uziza leaf to me is more like a herb. You want it to cook down so it releases all of its beautiful aroma into the soup. You can also use ugu. If you would use ugu, then you want to add that last. Once I add the vegetable, I'll stir very well to combine and then cover and allow to simmer for about 5 to 7 minutes. Seven minutes later, I opened up this pot and the aroma was nose blinding. It filled everywhere, so intense. I'm going to give this a gentle stir. You can see the lumps still intact, you guys. Now stir, make sure everything is well combined and our soup is ready. But just before I take it off the heat, I'll go in with the remaining blended crayfish and dawa that I saved earlier. Now adding that last kind of revives everything again and makes everything taste, gang. So our soup is ready. I'll stir this in, let it simmer for about 2 more minutes and then take it off the heat. Our soup is ready, you guys. I had this with pounded yam and oh my god, tell me egusi and pounded yam is not a favorite? I love it. With apple, pounded yam, it is so delicious. I hope you get to try this out. Send me your pictures if you do. See you in my next one. Bye. This is the second version of the Ugu and Uziza soup I shared not too long ago. It is so easy, you'll love this one just as much. So keep watching, let me show you how. In a pot, I'll go in with my protein of choice, which is goat meat. You can use beef, bush meat, any protein at all that you prefer. I've added some cow skin and snails. Please keep the snail if you don't like it. Next, I'll go in with some stockfish head. I prefer stockfish head for native soups. I find it to be a little bit more delicious. Yes, I said it. Alright, so I added some chopped pepper, seasoning and a bit of salt. Stir everything well to combine. Cover and let it steam for 15 minutes without adding water. Today's virtual hug is for Gift watching from France. Thank you for always watching and liking my videos. Please let me know where you're watching from in the comment section. So while that is going, I'll prep the vegetables. This is the Uziza leaf. See how fresh it is looking. You want to pick it, remove anyone that is not so fresh or that is bad. I also have the Ugu here, looking very lush and fresh. I'm going to wash all the vegetables thoroughly. You want to wash it multiple times. Be sure there is no sand in your vegetable. You don't want sand in your soup at all. It is not pleasant, okay? So wash them very well and set aside. So let's quickly check on our protein. It's been 15 minutes and at this point you'll notice some liquid in the pot, which is good. That came from the meat. If you're patient enough, you're going to let that liquid dry back into the protein before you go in with water. It's going to ensure a very delicious protein. So I went right ahead to add some water and cooked for another 10 minutes. Now I'm going to take out the snail just before it is completely cooked because I don't want it to overcook. The rest of the protein is still a bit tough. I'm going to continue cooking that until it is about 90% done. Back to the vegetables, I'm going to slice the ugu first, and with this you want to slice as thin as possible. You don't want it to be like long strands in the soup. For this soup, you actually don't need a lot of vegetables, so I did not use all that vegetable you saw in the beginning. No, I'm going to use about 2 handfuls each. All right, so the ugu is done. This is it. See how fresh it is looking. Next, I'm going to slice the uziza leaf as well. So I used 2 handfuls of both the ugu and the uziza each. At this point, the goat meat is ready. I'm going to now add water for the soup. The water you should add depends on the quantity of soup you are making. I'm going to reintroduce the snail, some fish. I'm using ejakika. You can use smoked catfish as well. A bit more pepper, some crayfish. Stir this in well to combine and allow it come to a boil. You can also taste at this point and adjust with seasoning or salt if necessary. I thought I needed a bit more seasoning, so I went in with some seasoning. After another 10 minutes, I come back, check on the soup. It is looking good. I'm going to now go in with good quality palm oil. Check the description box for the one I'm using. Alright, so once you add the palm oil, I'm going to go in with some ogiri. Oh my god. After the ugu and uziza leaf, the next star of this dish is the ogiri. It is going to, elevate the soup. Can I use iru, dada or ogiri okpei? The answer is yes, but if you want this soup to really bang, look for ogiri. Alright, so once I add the ogiri, I'm going to cover this and allow it to boil again for another 7 minutes. With this method, you need a thickener. I'm using achi as my thickener, and I'm going to dissolve it with some of the stock. Now, dissolving it will help ensure that there is no lumps in the soup. Can you use ofo or cocoyam? Absolutely, you can use ofo or cocoyam. So once I dissolved it, I added it into the stock, went in with the uziza leaf first. Because uziza is a bit tough, you want it to cook down to release all of its beautiful aroma into the soup. So stir that in well to combine and allow it go for another 5 minutes. 5 minutes later, I check on the soup. You guys, the aroma here was nose blinding. Give it a quick mix, and then I'm going to add the ugu at this point. Now you can see it is not very thick. You don't want this soup to thicken up while it's still on fire. So use very little amount of the achi or ofo. A little will go a long way. So at this point, I go in with 2 handfuls of the ugu, stir this in well to combine, and let it simmer for another 2-3 minutes. Still watching? Then this is a good time to please click the like button and subscribe if you haven't. Subscription is free. Hit the bell as well so you get notified anytime I upload a new video. Thank you. Five minutes later, the aroma was everywhere, so yummy. I'm going to stir on this very quickly and take it off the heat. I know somebody's going to say the vegetables look overcooked. It is not overcooked though, but if you like, as soon as you add the ugu, stir it and take it off the heat. Okay, now you can see the consistency. It is not so thick. This is exactly how you want it to look, because by the time it cools down, it is going to thicken up some more, and I'll show you what it looks like in a few minutes. Meanwhile, you want to make your fufu, your akpu, your semo, and enjoy it with it. I had this with plantain and yam fufu. I'll link that video in the description box. This is the same soup 40 minutes later. You can see it is now thick. At this point, I said, I should have added a bit more water, but the consistency was just right. Look at that. perfect. Now all that is left is to serve and enjoy. If you can perceive the aroma from the screen, oh yeah, type nose blinding in the comment section because my nose is blinded right now. This is our soup all ready and done. Let me know what swallow you're going to pair this with as well. I hope you enjoy this when you try it out. Don't forget to send me your pictures on Instagram at joyfulcook_ so I can repost. Thank you so much for watching. If you watched up until this point, give me a high five in the comment section and I'll give you a special hug. Thank you for watching. Bye. Fisherman soup is very delicious. I love it. Today I'm going to show you how to make it without breaking the bank. And it is not going to compromise on the taste at all. So to begin, you're going to cook the cocoyam. This we're going to use to thicken the soup. I used the best I could find. I know the red one is normally used, but this one is one I could find here. So transfer into a pot, add water and cook until it is soft. It will take the longest time, so start with it. I have some pepper, onion here. I'm using a lot of spice because I wanted it to be spicy. And the uziza. I also have some shrimp scale here. I'm going to pop the shrimp scale and the uziza into my blender now and blend that until it is very smooth. Once that is done, I'm going to pass that through a sieve to catch the chaff. Today's special hug is for Nosahari, watching from Benin City. Thank you for always watching and liking my videos. Please let me know where you're watching from so I can send you a hug in the next video. Set this juice aside, we'll need it later. Now I'm going to blend the onion, pepper with a bit of water and set aside as well. Normally, this soup is made with different type of seafood, but today we're going to use just this catfish, which I have cleaned. I'm going to go in now with some boiling water to help toughen the fish so it doesn't break apart when cooking. Now let it sit in the hot water for about 2 minutes, drain and rinse. Now this is what we have. It is looking firm. I'm going to set it aside. Now back to the cocoyam. At this point, I checked on it and it was quite soft. I'm going to peel it, transfer into a blender or mortar. You can pound it as well, but I'm going to blend this with a bit of water and set it aside. This soup cooks really fast, so you want all your ingredients prepped and ready before you start cooking. For the list of everything I'm using, please check the description box. So now everything is set. I'm going to add our clean fish into a wide enough pot. Go in now with some of that blended pepper and onions. Now you guys, this soup was very spicy, so just adjust to your level of tolerance. Okay, so I added some of that spice in there, went in with 1 shrimp seasoning. I'm going to add some water, salt and a bit of palm oil. Cover and let this cook for about 5 to 6 minutes. 5 minutes later, I'm going to give this a very gentle stir to be sure nothing is sticking. Then I'm going to go in with our deveined and deshelled shrimp. Now, this does not take time to cook at all. So from this point, everything happens really quick. Now, remember the stock we set aside. You're going to add that now. That's the uziza seed and the shrimp scale. I'm going to now add a bit more pepper. Go in with some water, depending on the amount of soup you're making. I went in with just little amount of water. I'm also going to adjust with seasoning or salt at this point. Seafood takes to salt really quickly, so be careful with seasoning when making the soup. Toss it around a little bit, then go in with the blended cocoyam. We want everything to boil together because from this point, soup is almost ready. Now add your cocoyam and then let everything simmer for 3 to 5 minutes. Five minutes later, I open up this pot and the aroma filled everywhere. Nose blinding, so delicious. So I'm going to give this a very gentle mix. You can see our fish is still intact and the consistency of the soup is just perfect. You don't want it to be too thick right now because When it cools down, it's going to thicken up even more. So finally, I'm going to go in with some periwinkle and some vegetable. Now you're going to use Uziza for this vegetable. I couldn't find it, so I used spinach. If you're using Uziza leaf, add it the same time you added the cocoyam so that everything can boil up together. So once I stir this in, I'm going to just give it 1 minute, take it off the heat, and soup is ready. To send this soup down, I'm going to make some oat fufu. You can use any swallow of your choice, but today I'm using Quaker oat fufu. So add that into your blender and blend until it is smooth. Now you can use fufu, semo, eba, whatever type you prefer. Just go ahead and enjoy. So I'm going to blend this until it is very smooth like this. I have some water already, boiling on fire. I'm going to set some of that aside because you'll need it later, and then go in with the blended oats. Keep stirring as you add it so it doesn't form lumps. Your heat should be on medium heat, okay? Continue to stir. At some point, you'll see everything beginning to come together. It doesn't mean it is ready. Go in with some more hot water. Remember the one we set aside earlier. Add that. Add a bit more because this thing can drink water. Yes. So cover and let that cook for about 3 to 5 minutes. 5 minutes later, bring everything together and our Quaker oat fufu is ready. That easy, very easy, super nutritious, packed with fiber, okay? So now all that is left is to serve and enjoy, you guys. Trust me, this soup is worth trying. You don't have to break the bank to make your fisherman soup, but trust me, this recipe will not water down the quality. Try it. I hope you do enjoy it. When you do, send me your pictures on Instagram at joyfulcook_ so I can repost them. If this is your first time here, thank you so much for clicking to watch this video. Please don't forget to subscribe, click the like button, and turn on your bell notifications so you'll be among the first to know anytime I upload a new video. To my returning subscribers, I love you all. Thank you for always coming back to watch. See you in my next video. Bye. What is there not to love about ogbono soup? This is one of my favorite soups ever. The distinct taste and how easy it is to make makes it a win all the time. To begin, I'm going to roast this bushmeat. We call it anunchi where I'm from. It is also known as grass cutter. I'm roasting it to get rid of any hair that may still be on the skin. Once that is done, I'm going to wash with an abrasive sponge and then cut into smaller sizes. Today's special hug is for Chioma watching from Aqua City in Nigeria. Thank you for always watching and liking my videos. Please let me know where you're watching from so I can send you a hug in my next video. In a clean pot, go in with some goat's meat already washed. Next, I'm going to add the cleaned bush meat that I washed and cut. Add that into the pot and then add, in fact, all the proteins you're cooking with, add everything now. Next thing is some omo, some snails. I normally don't cook ogbono with snails. I cook it with okra and every other soup, but with snails, so I tried it and it was so good. Next, add your stockfish, your ground pepper and onion, some seasoning to taste. Stir everything well together. Cover and let this simmer for about 15 minutes before we add water. While that is steaming, I'm going to ground some crayfish, pepper, onion, and dawa dawa. I roasted this dawa dawa to help release all of its natural flavors. So blend this and set aside. Next, I'm also going to clean and blend the ogbono. So if your ogbono is very dirty, this is what you should do. Get a clean paper towel, make sure it is dry, and then rub the ogbono on it. That way you get rid of all the dust from the ogbono. I like to do this instead of washing it, okay? You may want to do this during your free time or have the kids do it. Now ground that with a dry mill, go in with some palm oil, Mix this well to combine and then microwave it for about 2 minutes to dissolve all the ogbono. Another way to do this if you don't have a microwave is to place it on top of your cooking pot. I'll show you what I mean in a minute. Back to the meat. It's been 15 minutes. I'm going to stir on this real quick and then go in with some water, adjust with a bit of salt and cook for another 10 minutes, just until the snail is almost cooked. Even the bush meat does not take time to cook. Remember, it's been smoked already. So cover and cook for another 10 minutes. 10 minutes later, remove the snail and bush meat and then continue to cook the goat meat until it is about 80% cooked. Place the bowl of ogbono on top of the pot like this, or open up the pot and then place the bowl inside. Make sure your bowl is heat resistant, okay? So cover halfway through if you're placing it in it so it can dissolve. Meanwhile, I'm going to prep the ugu. I love to use ugu for my ogbono soup. You can use uziza or any other vegetable of your choice. Ugu is just a no-brainer for me when it comes to ogbono, okay? My personal preference. So it's been washed. I'm going to slice it thinly and set aside. 20 minutes later, our ogbono is now dissolved. Look at that, beautiful. So take this off and then we are going to check on the meat. At this point, the meat is about 80% cooked. What I'm going to do now is go in with enough water to cook the soup. So add water depending on the amount of soup you're making, okay? Next, go in with the ground crayfish, pepper and dawa dawa. Next thing is going to be my fish. Use any fish of your choice. Here I have some smoked Panla fish. I'm also going to add a bit of dried catfish. Now I'm going to reintroduce the snail and bushmeat that I set aside. You don't have to use all of this protein. You can make this ogbono soup with just the Panla fish and it will be very delicious. But you know, it's Christmas, so let's boil ourselves a little bit. I adjusted with a bit of salt, stir that in, taste to be sure everything is right. Then you can let this boil for another 10 minutes. Still watching? Then this is a good time to please click the like button and subscribe if you haven't. If this is your first time here, thank you so much for clicking to watch. Please don't forget to subscribe before you go if you love what you see. And to my returning subscribers, I love you all so much. Thank you for always coming back to watch. 10 minutes later, look at that. I opened up the pot, you guys, and the aroma was nose blinding. It filled everywhere. At this time, I'm going to add our dissolved ogbono into the pot and then let this cook for about 10 minutes before I stir. With ogbono soup, you want to cook for a minimum of 15 minutes to activate its deliciousness. Ten minutes later, I'm going to stir the soup very well. See how beautiful it is looking. The consistency is right. I don't like thick soup, so you can make your ogbono thicker if you prefer. If you leave me, I'll go lighter, but this is right. Okay, so now I'm going to add our vegetable. Add your vegetable of choice at this point. So I'm going to add our sliced ugu now. Give everything a good mix and let it simmer for another 3 minutes. If you want to add okra to your ogbono, add it after the 10-minute mark and then let it simmer for 2 minutes before you go in with the vegetable. Adding okra, you know, is very delicious. And number 2, it can help, you know, with the slime, just in case your ogbono seed is not the one that draws very well. Adding okra will help. Once the vegetable is in, stir to combine, give it 2 minutes, and then our ogbono soup is ready. Of course, you can enjoy this with any swallow of your choice, with fufu, pounded yam, gari, oat fufu. My preference, my best pair with ogbono is actually gari. I love it. But today I'm going to have it with eggplant fufu. Get your eggplant, any eggplant that is available, even the one we call garden egg. Yes, you can use it. Peel it or not, and then cut into smaller chunks. Transfer into your blender, add a bit of water and blend until it is smooth. So because I had a lot, I blended for a while and then went in with the remaining ones and blended everything together. Pass this through a chiffon cloth to get rid of the liquid in it. You will be shocked at the amount of liquid that came out from those 2 eggplants. And I didn't even blend with a lot of liquid, but yes, this was all the liquid that came out of it. Hold up, do not throw it out yet, we'll need it later. So at this point, this is the chaff, that's what we need for the fufu. So I'm going to transfer this now into a pot. Get a pot, transfer that, and then you're going to start stirring. At some point I felt it was a bit too dry, so I went in with some of the liquid from the eggplant, just a little bit, see how much I added, and then continue to stir. You need a binder for this. You can use Quaker oats. You want to blend that and use it as a binder, or psyllium husk. You can get psyllium husk from Amazon. Okay, you want to use about a teaspoon, not too much. Go in with that and stir everything until it begins to come together. Now look at that, looking amazing and just like real fufu or amala, and it is very light. So if you're looking to cut down on your weight, this is a great fufu alternative. At this time, I'm going to go in with some of that eggplant juice. Cover this and let it steam cook for about 3 minutes on medium-low heat. 3 minutes later, I'm going to bring everything together and our fufu is ready. Still haven't subscribed? Why now? Please click the subscribe button. It is totally free. They don't charge you for it. Hit the bell so you'll be among the first to know anytime I upload a new video. Don't forget to click the like button too. Thank you. Fufu is ready. Look at that. Very moldable and supple. I love it. Serve this up in a plate if you're eating immediately, or wrap it up so it doesn't dry out. So now all that is left is to serve and enjoy. I'm going to pour my soup over my fufu like this. If you don't like this, please just, serve it separately. I enjoy it this way and I'm going to enjoy my food. Thank you so much for watching this video. Subscribe if you haven't. Please subscribe. Turn on your notification bell so you get notified when I upload a new video. To my returning subscribers, I love you all so much. Thank you for always watching. See you guys in my next one. Bye. Hello Joyful Tribe and welcome back to the channel. Trust everyone is doing well and happy new year. Today we're going to be making ofe onugbu. This is the authentic onugbu soup recipe you do not want to miss. Keep watching, let me show you how to make this. To begin, I'm going to pluck the bitter leaf from the stalk. This is like the main ingredient. So what you want to do is sun dry this for about an hour or two so it can dry a little bit. Actually, you want this to wilt and not dry very well, otherwise it's going to just shatter once it is dry. You can also leave it on your kitchen counter for a few days. Next, I'm going to wash this properly to get rid of sand or dust. Do it multiple times till the water runs clear. Place the washed bitter leaf into a pot of boiling water and let this cook for a few minutes. This is the fastest way to get rid of the bitter taste from the leaf. Now, the longer you cook this, the less bitter it will be. So depending on how bitter or less bitter you want it, cook it. Now for this soup, I cooked this for 5 to 6 minutes before I went ahead to drain. Now once you drain, you're going to cool it down with some cold water. Now all of this is what will usually take you at least 30 to 40 minutes to wash if you're going to use your hands regularly. So once I drain it, I wash it 2 to 3 times, and by the third time, most of the bitter taste was already gone. Now the bitter leaf is ready. I'm going to now cook the cocoyam. It will take the longest time, so start with that. Now I know this is not the kind of cocoyam that we use for ofu onugbu, but this was the best I could find where I live. Now while that is going, go ahead and cook your protein of choice. I have here some goat meat already cleaned. I have some okporoko head. For some reason, I just like okporoko head. I find it to be tastier. I'm going to add some pomo. This was a bit tough, so I went in with it early. Going with some seasoning, some salt, and Cameroon pepper. Stir everything well to combine. Cover and let it steam for the first 15 minutes without adding water. Today's special hug is for Patricia watching from Abia State in Nigeria. Thank you for always watching and liking my videos. So after about 15 minutes, I'm going to come back, stir all of this together. You'd see begin to release some juices in there, which is good. Now you're going to add some water, cover and continue to cook this for another 20 minutes. At this time, I'm going to check on the cocoyam. Once a knife or a fork can drive through easily, you know it is ready. I'm going to peel the skin and then blend in a blender. You can also pound this using a mortar. Make sure to do it while it is still warm, that way it's a lot more easier. I check on the goat meat after the 20-minute mark and then go in with some washed snails. You don't have to add it, it is optional. You know I love my snails. I'm also going to go in with some well-washed fish. You want to soak your fish. Always wash your stockfish head and your dry fish with warm water and salt to remove any ant or sand in there. I went in with a bit of seasoning. You can also add salt. Add a bit of water and let that cook for another 10 minutes. We don't want our snails to overcook. It's been 10 minutes after adding the snail. Now I am going to go in with enough water for the soup. That's the stock for the soup. This depends on the quantity of soup you're making, okay? So I've added some water now. I'm going to go in with the blended cocoyam. Now with this cocoyam, you're going to add enough to thicken the soup. You also don't want the soup to be too thick because by the time it cools down, it is going to thicken some more. Once you add the cocoyam, you're going to add every other ingredient. Now, first up is some ground crayfish. I like to be generous with that. Going with some more pepper, depending on how spicy you like your soup. But I just like Cameroon pepper for this soup. It has a distinct taste. Next thing is ogilisi. This is the medicine for this soup. No ogilisi, no ofu onugbu. Add it in there and then go in with some palm oil as well. You can also taste and adjust with seasoning or salt if necessary. Once you add the palm oil, cover and let this boil up for another 7 minutes on medium-high heat. In between, you want to come back and check to see how thick your soup is. If it is thick enough to your desired consistency and then you have some more cocoyam on top of it, then you can scoop out the remaining cocoyam. Otherwise, cover and continue to simmer until everything is dissolved. 7 minutes later, I check on the soup. Oh my goodness, look at that. Looking so beautiful. The aroma was nose blinding. So good. So at this point, I'm going to now add the bitter leaf. Remember our bitter leaf that we washed? Look at this consistency. Just right, not too thick. So I'm going to add the bitter leaf now and then let it simmer for a few more minutes. Still watching? Then this is a good time to please click the like button and subscribe if you haven't. Please subscribe. Subscription is free, they don't charge you for it. While at it, you also want to click on that notification bell to your right and then hit the one that says all notifications so you'll be among the first to know anytime I upload a new video. Thank you. The bitter leaf have been in here for 5 minutes now. I'm going to stir everything to combine. At this point, soup is ready. Oh, the aroma was nose blinding. It is looking good. Look at that color. Check the description box for the palm oil that I used. You'll love it. Okay, you can get it from Amazon. Our soup is ready now. I'm going to take this off the heat. Now, to sand this down, I'm going to make pounded yam. Honestly, the best pair for this soup is Fufu, Santana, or Akpu, but I don't have that today. That's why I'm going to make some pounded yam. Boil some water, remove some of it, set it aside, and then go in with your yam flour. You're going to keep stirring as you add until it begins to turn stiff. Once everything is well molded like this, it doesn't mean it is cooked. You're going to now go in with the hot water we set aside earlier. Cover and let this cook for another 10 minutes on medium-low heat. After 10 minutes, come back, give everything a good mix again. This time you want to heat it towards the side of the pot to activate a bit of stretch. Then you know your pounded yam is ready. Serve and enjoy. I hope you try this out and enjoy it together with your family. Send me your pictures on Instagram at joyfulcook_ once you do. Thank you so much for watching. See you in my next video. Bye. Hello Joyful Tribe, welcome back to the channel. I hope everyone is doing well. In today's video, I share how to make a foriro soup. Oh my god, you guys, this soup was so delicious. Let me show you how I made it. For my pepper mix, I have some onion, some Scotch bonnet, some sweet pepper, also known as shombo in Nigeria, and some red bell pepper. I'm not going to use tomatoes because tomatoes is not used to cook a foriro. For the vegetable, I'm using chopped frozen spinach. This one makes this soup really easy. What I did was get this out from the freezer, let it thaw on the kitchen counter, and then squeezed out the liquid from it. Now this is what we have. If you're going to use fresh spinach, you want to blanch it first. That is, place it in a pot, let it steam for about 2 to 3 minutes, and then pour out the juice. Next, I have some ground crayfish, also known as shrimp powder, some iru, locust beans, very important for this soup, some palm oil, and I have this one from Medpac Farms red palm oil. Their link will be in the description box, so check it out. I'm using 2 different types of fish. You don't have to. I have smoked catfish and Panla fish here. Both have been washed really well with hot water and salt. I'm also going to use some cow leg, which is my protein of choice for this soup, and some cow tripe, otherwise known as shaki. Now I'm going to season that meat with some seasoning cube. There's some beef seasoning, some salt, onions already sliced, and some Scotch bonnet pepper. Add water to this, cover, and continue cooking. While the meat is cooking, I went ahead to blend the pepper mix. I blended this to somewhere in between, not too smooth and not too rough. But do this however you like it. Meanwhile, about 20 minutes into this, I went in with the stockfish. You can add this from the beginning, depending on how tough your stockfish is, okay? So this is about 70% done. What I'll do now is go in with some snail. This is optional, but you know I love my snail, so I'm going to add some snail already washed and one more pre-cooked though that I saw laying somewhere. So I'm going to add that now. Push it in to absorb that liquid and then cook for another 10 minutes. I don't want this snail to be overcooked because I'm going to add it early as well in the stew base. Alright, so this was 10 minutes later. Scoop it out and set everything aside, including the stock. We'll need it later. Alright, so it is time to put everything together. In a pot, I heat up some palm oil, going with some onion, some locust beans, and some beef seasoning. Fry this for about 2 minutes until it becomes fragrant. 2 minutes later, stir on this and then go in with the pepper mix. That's our blended bell pepper, tomatoes, onion, and Scotch bonnet pepper. You're going to allow this fry for another 20 minutes and then we'll be back. Today's hug is for Niabasi watching from Texas and Chris Okay watching from Nigeria. I'm glad you all love the recipes. Please let me know where you're watching from so I can send you a hug in my next video. So this was 20 minutes later. I'm going to stir on this real quick. It is not completely cooked at this point, but we are still cooking. Alright, so stir and then go in with the meat stock. Remember the meat stock I asked you to save. This is the time to add it. Add the meat stock and we're going to add all our proteins now. So first thing is going to be the catfish. With the fish, I added only the catfish first. This Panla fish is quite soft. If I add it now, everything is just going to fall apart, so I saved that for later. Next thing is all our proteins. You're going to stir this in, taste and adjust with seasoning or salt if necessary. I added a bit more seasoning, salt, and our crayfish. So add all of that at this point and then cover for this to boil really well for about 15 minutes. If this is your first time here, thank you so much for clicking to watch. Don't forget to subscribe, click the like button, turn your bell notification on when you subscribe so you'll be among the first to know anytime I upload a new video so you don't miss out on any of our delicious recipes. And to my returning subscribers, I love you all so much. Thank you for always coming back to watch. So 15 minutes later, I check on our base and you guys, this is looking delicious already. You can have this with rice as it is right now and you'll totally enjoy it. So you can see the sauce have thickened up a bit as well. Everything have come together. Now I'm going to go in with vegetable. You know this vegetable is really compact, so add little by little, add more as you stir it in if you have to. If you add a lot at once, it may be impossible to remove from it, you know. So yeah, stir this in gently. Once everything comes together, I'll let it simmer again for a few more minutes. But before that, I'm going to add our Panla fish. Remember I didn't add it earlier because I didn't want it to fall apart so much. So I'm going to add it now, stir everything in gently before I allow to simmer. So 5 minutes later, our soup is ready and looking so delicious, and trust me, the aroma was nose blinding. For the protein, use as much or as little as you like. Okay, thank you so much for watching this video. Please don't forget to click the like button again, subscribe if you haven't. See you in my next one. Bye. Hello Joyful Tribe, welcome back to the channel. Trust everyone is doing well. Today I share how to cook the authentic Afang soup recipe. You do not want to miss this video, so keep watching. First I'll show you the list of ingredients you need for this recipe. Number 1 is water leaf. You will also need the Afang leaf itself, also known as okazi leaf. I have here some snails and momo. I cut some momo tiny and I have some of them still round. You'll need good quality palm oil, emphasis on good quality. Please check the description box for the one I'm using. I have here some smoked ejakika, also known as Panla fish. Smoked catfish is also delicious in Afang soup, or use any fish you like. Some ground crayfish, very important. Periwinkle, if you have the one in the shell, better, but this is the one I have. Also have a combination of red and yellow hot peppers, some seasoning to taste. This one is called okporoko head. It's been soaked in hot water and washed thoroughly. And finally, I have some goat meat. Prepping the vegetables for this soup, that is the water leaf and Afang leaf, is the most tedious part for me. So what I like to do is start a day before. If I know I'll make Afang soup tomorrow, tonight I'll pluck it, wash it, slice it, and then let it air dry until the next morning. You can also do this in the market if you don't mind. Buy the leaf, have them cut it and even grind it for you. But I'm sorry, I mind the dust. I always like to wash it at home myself to be sure it is clean. And as you'll see in a bit, the water is always very dirty, so wash it multiple times until the water runs clear. Now we are done washing and down to the main job. Okay, you're going to now start arranging them like this. What I like to do is put the broad one underneath so I can fold it easily, just like this. And you're going to slice it thinly. Yes, so I like to cut off the head as well, like this, and cut it really thin. Not sure if I did a good job here, because trust me, those market women are the real experts. They can cut this thing as thin as you can imagine, and super fast as well. Their knives very sharp. I even had to switch knife myself in between while slicing this. So after slicing, because I was going to cook it the next morning, I spread it on a tray to dry. Now this is the next morning. You don't have to wait till the next morning. If you want to cook it that same day, why not? Go ahead and pound it. So I've added into my mortar. I am going to pound until it is like this. Okay. Now you're going to scoop it out and set it aside. One major tip to bear in mind when making this soup is the ratio of your afang to your water leaf. For this soup, I'm using 40-60. The afang is 40% and the water leaf is 60%. Now, during the dry season, you're going to tweak this a little. The afang should now be 30 and the water leaf 70, so that you have more moisture. Okay, so you want to wash your water leaf. I've plucked it already. Wash it really well so that there is no sand. Squeeze out the liquid in it, that's the water in it, and you're going to cut this really thinly. Anytime you're making any Calabar soup that requires water leaf, the water leaf should be cut very thinly. So finally done cutting the vegetables, and in real life I actually did this. You know that sigh of relief? I did that. So now let's start cooking proper. In your pot, go in with your protein of choice. Mine is goat meat. Add some pepper and season. You may choose to add salt, but this seasoning I'm using is very sharp, so I won't be adding that. I'll stir that really well to combine. Cover for this to sweat out its own moisture for about 15 minutes. This meat is male goat meat. It doesn't take time to cook. 15 minutes later, I'm going to come back, stir on this, and add the rest of the protein I need to add now. So go in with the washed snail, the pomo, both the chopped and whole ones. I'm also going to add the okporoko now, and I'm going to add some crayfish. Yes, add some crayfish, add water, and you're going to allow this to cook. Now before I started to cook, I went in with my fish. The fish I'm using is quite tough. This is a jakika. They almost smoked the life out of it. It was very dry, so I needed to add it at this point so it will cook together with the meat and the rest of the protein. But if your fish is not tough, you don't have to add it now. I'll tell you when to add it as I progress. Okay, so I'm adding mine now, and then I'll cover and begin to cook. Today's virtual hug is for Rosemary Wankwo watching from USA and Udo Catherine watching from South Africa. I'm glad you love the recipes. Please let me know where you're watching from. Alright, so this was about 15 minutes later. You can take out your snail at this point, but mine was still a bit hard, so I continued to cook. I'm going to go in with half of the palm oil I need for this entire cooking. You'll add the last batch later, and I'll show you when. So add this palm oil, and then you can taste and adjust at this point with seasoning or salt if necessary. I went in with a bit more crayfish. Okay, so stir that in, cover, and let this cook for about 7 minutes. So let's say you're using a softer type of fish. You'll add it around this time. Add the fish, the palm oil, and allow to cook for 7 minutes. 7 minutes later, I'll then go in with the chopped water leaf and the periwinkle. I'll start to combine, just a little bit. You don't want to activate the slime in the water leaf. Some people even wash their water leaf like bitter leaf before cooking with it, but I won't be doing that. So stir gently and then cover for it to steam for 3 minutes. After 3 minutes, I opened this pot and oh my god, now, the aroma was nose blinding. And just the way it is, this right here is water leaf soup. If there's one thing I would have added, it would be Ogiri, and you'll have a delicious pot of soup. But we are making Afang soup, so let's concentrate. I have now added the pounded Afang and a bit more palm oil. I know, Afang soup requires good amount of palm oil. You can totally skip this last batch, but it does something to this soup. Trust me, it adds to the sweetness. Okay, so add it, stir, and after about a minute, you don't want to cook the Afang at all. After about a minute, it is ready. Check this out. Oh my god, is this not looking delicious? So take it off the heat, serve with any swallow of your choice. I personally think this slaps with fufu. Oh my god, I had this with fufu. It was so good. I hope you get to try this out and enjoy it. Thank you so much for watching. See you in my next one. Bye. Now you know how to make the authentic Afang soup. Today I'll show you how to make the Calabar style bitter leaf soup. So delicious and super easy. Keep watching, let's begin. For the list of ingredients, I have here some goat meat already cleaned. Use any protein that you prefer. Okporoko head cleaned as well. I have some snails. You know I love my snails. Next is the bitter leaf already washed to remove the bitter taste, and please remove the stalk. This is smoked catfish or any fish you like. Crayfish, very important. I have here a combination of yellow and red Scotch bonnet, some seasoning to taste. You need more. I chopped some into pieces and left some still whole. The water leaf, see how fresh it is looking, and of course good quality palm oil. Check the description box for the one I'm using. Pick, wash and slice your water leaf. Please do this well, you don't want sand in your soup. Now the ratio of water leaf to bitter leaf you use for this soup is also very important. Your water leaf should be 70% while the bitter leaf 30%. Say you have 2 parts of water leaf, then you should use 1 part of bitter leaf. Now during the dry season, water leaf tends to shrink. It doesn't contain as much water as it should. In that case, you can now increase the portion of your water leaf a little bit. After washing, the next stage is to slice the water leaf very thinly. When making any Calabar soup that requires water leaf, always slice it thinly, okay? Once it is done, set it aside. You also want to wash your bitter leaf until the bitter taste is gone. After washing it, you can slice it as well, okay? I don't have that clip here, but I'm sure we all know how to wash bitter leaf. But just in case you don't know how to wash bitter leaf, indicate in the comment section and I'll come through. Now let's start cooking. Go in with your goat meat or any protein you're using. Add the stockfish head, your snail, go in with some onion, go in with your fresh pepper. I'm using both the yellow and red. Use as much as you can tolerate. I'm using almost all the amount of spice I need for this soup now. Now you're going to go in with some seasoning and salt if necessary. I didn't add salt because this seasoning is quite sharp. Cover and allow this to steam for 15 minutes without adding water. After 15 minutes, you're going to now introduce the bonnet. I'm adding it now because it's not so tough, okay? Once you add this, you're going to add water and cook just until the snail is done. I don't want this snail to overcook, so I'm going to take it out at this point. The meat also is almost done. I'm using male goat meat and it doesn't take time to cook. But then we have a good number of stock in there. I'm going to cook until the stock is reduced. You don't want too much water in this soup at all. Today's virtual hug is for Augusta Wogu, watching from London. I'm glad you love the recipes. Please let me know where you're watching from. Also, if this is your first time here, I want to especially thank you for clicking to watch. Please don't forget to subscribe, turn your bell notification on so you'll be among the first to know when I upload a new video. Now the stock is reduced, I'm going to take this off the heat. In that same pot, I'll go in with some palm oil and allow it to dissolve. While we wait for it to dissolve, don't forget to click the like button. Thank you. Now you're going to go in with some seasoning and some more Scotch bonnet. If you're going to add more, I added a bit more. I use most of the spice to cook the meat. So now I am going to stir and then go in with our already parboiled proteins. You're going to go in with everything at this point. Once you add it, you're going to now go in with some crayfish and almost everything we're using for this soup. You're going to add it now. It happens really quick. Add the meat, add your fish. I'm using smoked catfish. You're going to add your crayfish as well. Reintroduce the snail. Be generous with the amount of crayfish you use for this soup, all right? Once you add all of this, you're going to stir them well to combine. So I gave this about 3 minutes for everything to come together. Now I'm going to go in with the water leaf. Once I add the water leaf, you want to stir gently, cover and allow this to steam for around 3 minutes. If you're going to use the deshelled periwinkle, this is the time to add it as well. 3 minutes later, I come back, open this pot, and the aroma was heavenly, nose blinding. I'm going to stir on this gently. Try not to stir too vigorously so you don't activate the slime, okay? Now at this point, you can taste and adjust with seasoning or salt if necessary. In my case, I'm going to go in with a bit more crayfish. Now once you add the crayfish, you're going to now add your washed bitter leaf. Still watching up until this point, don't forget to click the like button and subscribe if you haven't. Subscription is free. They don't charge you for it. And then hit the bell so you'll be among the first to know anytime I upload a new video. Now you're going to stir the bitter leaf in, and then you're going to add one last ingredient, which is palm oil. I choose to skip this, but let me tell you, it adds a delicious taste to your soup, especially if you're using good palm oil. Then you don't have to worry. By the second day, everything blends in really well. But if you don't like the taste, then please skip it, okay? Now once you stir that in, you're going to give it another 2-3 minutes before you take it off the heat. Three minutes later, I'll take this off the heat. Soup is ready. You guys, you need to try this soup. It is very delicious. I'm even confused at this point. Not sure if I prefer Afang to this or this to Afang. It is very, very sweet. I'll leave a link to the Afang soup video in the comment section. If you haven't seen it, please check it out. Don't forget to subscribe. Click the like button if you haven't already. And turn your bell notification on so you'll be among the first to know anytime I upload a new video. See you in my next one. Bye. Hello joyful tribe and welcome back. I hope everyone is doing well. Today we are making Oha soup. Oh my god, can you tell that this soup is a delicious soup? Even if you've not eaten it before, you can tell. Alright, so to make this soup, we're going to start by cooking our cocoyam. This right here is going to serve as a thickener. While that is cooking, go ahead, cook your protein. I'm using goat meat, but feel free to use any protein that you prefer. Next thing is the seasoning. I'm not going to add salt because this seasoning contains salt. This is the Onga shrimp seasoning. I've been loving it. Next thing is some dry pepper for a bit of heat. I'm going to add some more protein, but I'll add it after I have steamed this goat meat. So cover and let it steam for 15 minutes without adding water. While that is steaming, I went ahead to wash my okporoko head. Can you see the yamayama? Look at all the insects inside this stockfish head. So always wash it with hot water. Soak it with hot water and salt for at least 5 minutes. Then go in with cold water, wash it until there is no ant in there. Okay, it is very important. All right. So continue to do this until you're sure it is clean. 15 minutes later, I check on the goat meat and you can see it has rendered some juice in the pot. If you're patient enough, you can let this go some more so the juice can dry back into the goat meat to ensure for a really delicious protein. Next thing is the washed stockfish head. Go in with a bit more water at this point as well. Cover and allow this to cook until the meat is about 70% done. To make Oha soup, you can either use Banga juice or palm oil. I'm using Banga juice today and I have this pulp which was frozen. I brought it out to, defrost on my counter. Now in a bowl, I'm going to break it apart and then go in with hot water. The hot water is going to allow us get the most from this pulp, alright? But be careful with the hot water. So I'm going to wiggle around with my spatula and then, pass it through a sieve, catch the shaft, and we have our Banga juice. Today's virtual hug is for Kandebo watching from Jamaica. I'm glad you love the recipes. Please let me know where you're watching from so I can send you a hug in my next video. Also, if this is your first time here, I want to especially thank you for clicking to watch this video. Please don't forget to like, subscribe and share before you go. Turn your bell notification on as well so you'll be among the first to know anytime I upload a new video. And to my returning subscribers, I love you. Thank you for always coming back to watch. Alright, so our pulp is ready now. I'll set that aside. At this time, I go check on our cocoyam. You want to press it just like this. Be careful so you don't burn yourself. Once it breaks up easily, you know it is ready. So you want to blend this while it is still hot. Blend or pound it, whichever one you prefer. So peel it and place in a blender. Blend until it is smooth. For the full list of everything I'm using today, please check the description box. I always list them in the description box. You also want to blend some crayfish and pepper and then set it aside. Please use as much pepper as you can tolerate. I have the Oha vegetable here. It's a very tender vegetable. You can just cut them up with your fingertips just like this. If you are still watching, this is a good time to please click the like button, subscribe and turn your bell notification on so you'll be among the first to know anytime I upload a new video. Thank you. Now this is done, wash really well and set it aside. Next I have the Uziza leaf here. I'm going to wash them as well really well and then slice this up with a knife. At this time, I check on the goat's meat and the stock head and it is doing well. I'm going to give it a gentle stir and then go in with our palm fruit. Now at this point, this meat is 70% cooked. It is not cooked through. We are still cooking. So go in with your Banga juice at this point. If you're adding everything, be sure not to add the sediment because that can feel like sand. Once I add that, I like to go in with the washed catfish here and then go in with our blended crayfish and pepper as well. Cover halfway through and allow this to come to a boil. If you're using palm oil, simply add a little bit more water, bring to a boil. Once it boils, add the palm oil and allow the oil to integrate into the soup before you continue with the rest of the ingredients. So at this time, our palm fruit is boiling. I'm going to now go in with some Ogiri. Oh my god, this right here is a game changer. Okay, so add a little bit and go in with your thickener. I'm using cocoyam paste as my thickener. You can also use achi or cocoyam powder, anyone you have, or Cocoyam paste is the, traditional thickener for this soup. I also tasted and adjusted with a bit more salt. Cover and cook until this is well dissolved into the soup. Something I would do differently is add the Uziza leaf the same time I added the cocoyam paste. That way the Uziza leaf have time to release its beautiful flavor into the soup. Oha is a very soft vegetable, so add that last and cook for just 2 minutes. Also, you want to feel free to go in at any point, remove the cocoyam once you achieve your desired thickness. Oha soup is not meant to be very thick because when it cools down, it's going to thicken up some more. Alright, so once I achieve my desired thickness, add the Oha leaf. Remember I said you add the Uziza earlier. Once you add the Oha, let this steam for just 2 minutes. The residual heat will finish the cooking and our soup is ready. You guys, the aroma, nose blinding, color, check, taste, heavenly. This soup was delicious. I paired this with Au. What will you have this with? Fufu, Gari, Amala. What's your best pair? Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't. Click the like button and I'll see you in my next one. Bye. Hello everyone and welcome back. Today I share how to make Ewedu Egusi. This meal is very sweet, so if you don't eat it, please change your mind or think about it. It is delicious. To begin, I'm going to pick and wash the Ewedu leaves. Ewedu leaves is also called jute leaves. It is slimy when it is cooked. Yeah, so in case you're wondering what it's called in English, it is called jute leaves. So while picking this, try not to add the stem to it, okay? So I'm going to do this until it is done. After picking the leaves, I'm going to wash them under running water just like so to get rid of any sand or dust. Sand is the last thing you want to bite into when you're eating your Ewedu soup. So do this and then we're going to move on. But before then, if this is your first time here, I want to specially thank you for clicking to watch this video. Please don't forget to subscribe before you leave and turn your bell notification on so you'll be among the first to know anytime I upload a new video. And to my returning subscribers, you guys are the best. Thank you for always watching. So to a pot of boiling water, I'm going to add some iru, also known as locust beans, followed by the washed Ewedu leaves. Now you want the liquid in the pot and the leaf to be at the same level so it's not so watery by the time you blend it. You can also add potash or baking soda if you want this to draw really well, but I'm not going to be using that today. So at this time, I'm going to add some egusi. You can see the quantity, it's not so much for this quantity of Ewedu. I have mixed the egusi with some of the liquid from the pot. Now it's into paste. I'm going to add that into the pot and let it cook down for another 5 to 7 minutes or until the leaf is soft. I'm also going to add some seasoning cubes and salt. You can add crayfish if you prefer, but I'll not be adding that today as well. Another way to do this is to cook the egusi and iru for about 5 minutes before you add the leaves if you want to give the egusi enough time to cook. But again, this is almost an insignificant amount of egusi to give you a running stomach, okay? But you can do it that way if you prefer. As you watch, please do not forget to click the like button and subscribe to my channel. Click your bell notifications so you can get all my videos as soon as I upload them. Thank you. After about 7 minutes, the Ewedu is soft now. So if you want to go in with a broom, that's the Yoruba broom, this is the time to go in and mash it up. But I'm going to use my food processor. You also want to let this cool down a bit before you blend, okay? I'm going to use a pulse setting so I don't over blend. If it's too smooth, I don't really like it when it is too smooth. I like it roughly blended, okay? All done now. This is what it looks like. I'm going to transfer this into a pot. The gas was turned off, it wasn't on or anything, okay? So this is our Ewedu Egusi. Kids will love this meal because it is slimy. I love it as well. Okay, so there we have it. You're going to make your amala, or is there any other swallow that goes with Ewedu apart from amala? Can you use a bar? Let me know in the comment section. So this is me making my amala dudu. Okay, once it is ready, I'm going to serve this over my Ewedu Egusi and some buka stew. You guys, it is delicious. You guys, it is delicious. Like I said, if you don't eat this meal, please think twice. Try it first. Close your eyes and try it. I'm sure you'll like it. Don't forget to send me pictures on Instagram at joyfulcook_ if you get to try this out. And I'll see you in my next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye. Hello everyone and welcome back. Today I share how I made this egusi and banga soup combo that is out of this world delicious. You have to try this to just know for yourself. Let's make it. In a bowl I'm going to dissolve the banga concentrate. I'm using this because I don't have access to fresh ako. If you have that, all you have to do is cook it. Once it is soft, pound and extract the juice, and that is what you need for this soup. Okay, at least one of the ingredients you need for this soup. So I'm going to set this aside so it can settle. Next, you want to ground or pound some onion, Ogiri, Okpei, pepper and some crayfish and set aside. So now in a pot I'm going to add the washed meat, and I'm using Ewedu for this, that is goat head. Feel free to use any meat of your choice, but let me tell you something, this goat meat head made this soup extra delicious. I love pomo in my soups, especially egusi soup, so I'm going to add some pomo and some smoked chicken. You guys, please try this protein combination that I use for this soup. You'll love them. So I've gone ahead to season with some seasoning cubes, some onion and pepper and some salt. Add water and allow this to cook until it is about 70% done. So after a while, the meat is almost done. It's still a little bit hard, but then we're still cooking. Okay, so this time I'm going to now pour in our dissolved banga juice. Be sure not to add the settled particles because this can make it feel like you have sand in your soup, so throw that out. Now I am going to loosen this up with a little bit more water because I thought the paste was a little bit too thick, so I added just a little bit of water. Now I'm going to cover and let this come to a boil. If this is your first time here, I want to specially thank you for clicking to watch today's video. Please don't forget to subscribe to this channel, turn your bell notification on so you'll be among the first to know anytime I upload a new video. And to my returning subscribers, I love you. Thank you for always coming back to watch. So moving on, I'm going to add some grounded egusi into a bowl, add some blended onion, rinse out the jar and add just a little bit more water. You don't want to add too much water, okay? We want to form this into a paste. So I'm going to mix until this forms into a paste and I'll set it aside. So a pot of soup is boiling now. Some oil have also floated to the top. At this time I'm going to now add the blended pepper, crayfish, onion and the Ogiri that I blended. Add some seasoning to adjust and stir this in. Once I stir it in, immediately I'm going to add egusi. The reason why I want to add it now is because you want the egusi to have enough time to cook down since we are not frying this. So I'm going to add the egusi in lumps just like so. Once it is done, I also like to add some egusi that I did not form into lumps so that the soup can have some weight or some body, if that makes sense. So add it in, give it a gentle stir, and then allow to simmer gently for a good 10 to 15 minutes. One thing to also bear in mind is when adding the egusi, you want to add depending on how thick or light you like the soup. I like the soup somewhere in between. I don't like it very thick and I don't like it watery as well. But whichever way you prefer, add your egusi. That will be your determining factor. Okay, you know egusi can also rise, so you want to give room for that. So while that is cooking, I'm going to go ahead and make my fufu mix. Who agrees with me that this goes so well with fufu, apple, pounded yam, you name it, semo? I love this soup with swallows like that. So this particular mix I'm using contains fufu and plantain mix. I think it's the Ghana version and I absolutely love it. I love the way it balances out. It is very stretchy, really stretchy when done. So you want to add water, you know, depending on how light you want your fufu to be. I like my fufu really light, some of you know by now, so I'm going to add plenty of water and just let it cook down for another 10 minutes and I'll come back. You want to do this on medium heat, okay? So this was 12 minutes later. I'm going to check on the soup, and you guys, as soon as I opened that pot, no jokes, the aroma almost blinded my nose. It is nose blinding, so yummy. So I'm going to stir on this gently, and this time around I'm going to now add my fish. I'm using this fish called ejakika and it doesn't take long to cook, that's why I'm adding it late. If you're using catfish that is very dry, you want to add it on time so it can soften up. So I'm going to add the fish, stir on this for a while and let it simmer before I come back and add my last ingredient. Now at this time you may also taste and adjust with salt or seasoning if necessary, but mine was perfect, so I'm just going to stir and allow to simmer. My preferred vegetable for this soup would be bitter leaf, but because I don't have access to that right now, I'm going to use spinach. You can also use kale if you have it, okay? So I've sliced up my spinach. I'm going to add it into the soup, stir and take it off the heat immediately. You don't want to overcook the veggies. The steam from the soup will wilt and do the rest of the cooking rather. If you're still watching up until this point, this is a good time to please smash the like button and subscribe if you haven't, okay? Subscribe, it is free of charge, no charges whatsoever. Click on the notification bell so you'll be among the first to know anytime I upload a new video. Thank you. So like I said, stirring the vegetables, take it off the heat and our soup is ready. Have you tried this combo before, or is this something you're willing to try? Share your thoughts with me in the comment section. So 10 minutes later, I'll come back, check on our fufu mix, give it a good stir. At this point, you're sure it is properly done, okay? So I'm going to stir this really well until everything comes together and it becomes really smooth, and you can see it's also very stretchy. At this point, you can take it off the heat, serve your fufu and egusi with banga soup and just enjoy. Don't forget to share with somebody, okay? Yeah, this was amazing. This soup was so delicious. You should try it. Send me your pictures on Instagram at joyfulcook_ if you get to try it out. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye. Enjoy the rest of the video. I'm going to play very loud music for you because you watched till the end. Bye.